Hey Hotshots, Jess with Emotional Fire Academy, here today to talk about the highly sensitive person's hurt feelings. I got hurt feelings. If you know where that's from, that song lyric, you get bonus points. Drop a comment below. Welcome. This is Emotional Fire Academy. That's what we do here. We help HSPs up level, transcend whatever you want to do with your sensitivity, or at least just make it more tolerable. Welcome. I'm Jess. I am a master NLP practitioner and former firefighter. So I do want to give you the song Hurt Feelings by Flight of the Conchords. If you've never seen that show, it's hilarious. And they have a song called Hurt Feelings. And it really, if you have hurt feelings this very second and you're watching this, go watch the video. It's going to distract you a little bit. You're going to connect with it. You're going to find it funny. And that's what we need to do about hurt feelings. Let's talk about them today. Hurt feelings. So let me tell you a little story to preface hurt feelings. We're a point of consciousness in a matrix. All day long, we jump around into different personas. Now, what really is a persona? Persona, when we go back to the emotional fire triangle, is a flavor of us. It's could be a momentary, an hourly, a monthly flavor of us. It's different versions of us. And I've talked about phase shifting before. We phase shift in and out of reality. This is a known thing in physics, but we also phase shift as a consciousness in and out of these personas. For instance, there's your work persona, who you are at work. This person at work thinks a different way. Thinks a certain way, feels a certain way. They may be feeling like, oh, I really don't want to be here. And then through habituation, that work persona is kind of cemented. So if your work friends were to see you outside of work, they might be surprised about who you are because you're a different person outside of work, right? You think differently, right? The language we use in our heads is different. We feel a different way. We feel more free outside of work. We feel more free to be ourselves. And through habituation, that's what our conditioning is for that persona. So these personas have their own, essentially we're jumping into a point of consciousness that is characterized by a certain thought pattern, body feeling, and then the habituation of that, right? It's practiced. We've practiced these personas. For instance, there's an angry you. There's a sad you. There is a happy you. And what we'll find, what the feeling tone, right? These are all things we practiced. We never express novel emotions as humans. Who do you know that suddenly has come up with their own emotion? Is like, oh yeah, I became gefühlsdefault yesterday. Like we don't do that. People don't really think to do that. Not that we can't do that because we can, but we don't think to do that. So we're only going to express emotions we've conditioned ourselves to be. We've practiced. And so the personas that we go into when we're upset, when we have hurt feelings, we have practiced. We've practiced our angry self. We've practiced our sad self. We've practiced our upset self. We've practiced our enraged self, right? There's subtle nuances between these personas, but they're all things that we've practiced. And when we land in them, it's a certain thought pattern. So what we're telling ourselves in our head, a body feel, and then we've practiced them. That's kind of the basis of it. We've conditioned ourselves into these certain personas. And let me return to the feeling tone. The feeling tone of being in a hurt persona feels very constricted. Like it's really going to feel, this is how you can identify where you are moment to moment. It feels very constricted. We're in the energy of the problem. We have blinders on almost. It's almost like we cannot see our resources, our solutions, because we're so upset about the problem. We're in the problem totally. We're in this persona of the angry version of ourselves, the sad version, the disgusted version, a shameful version, whatever version you're in when you have hurt feelings, maybe a mixture of more than one. And so it feels very constricted. Where we might make a mistake is trying to solve the problem from that persona, right? Einstein famously said, let me read his quote, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." And it's not just the thinking, he got one part of it right. It's the thinking, it's also the body feel, right? Our physiology is thinking with our body. So the feel, the thoughts, and then the associated sensations of the body, we have to be in a different persona to solve the problem. Like literally. And that feels, again, when we're in a calm, centered persona, or even just an okay, content persona, which is maybe our normal resting persona, we can literally perceive way more options and resources and solutions than when we are in the hurt feeling persona. And so really what we need to do when you go into hurt feelings, you're going into an old version of you that you've practiced over and over again. You literally disappear into this persona. You embody it, mind, body, and soul. And so this isn't a new version of you. This is an old version of you you've practiced, and your present self, your present clear thinking self literally isn't available in that moment because you've stepped into this old persona. It's almost like you're stepping into a ghost of who you used to be. Because this was something you practiced in the past, and you're now in this present choosing that persona and standing in it and thinking and feeling from that because you've practiced it so well. I know this might sound totally like off the wall, but this is truly what happens to us. Typically, that's because certain parts of our brain get activated, the amygdala, first and foremost, the fight or flight mechanism. And so what happens when your fight or flight gets triggered? You go into these personas. Within about 20 minutes, if the threat has disappeared, the amygdala will calm down, and then we can resume the present tense us, who can see the present version of us, who can see then all of our options, all of our solutions, because that's really what we want to do. We want to fix the problem, right? We're hurt because there's a reason. We see a reason, we perceive a reason, and we want to fix it. We want to feel differently. We want to think differently. We want an answer. We want a solution. And as Einstein said, we can't be in the persona of a hurt feeling and fix the problem. So the thing to do as a highly sensitive person, when you have hurt feelings, here's the big secret, is literally you batten down the hatches and you hold on till it's over. That's like the best thing you can do. Because again, you're not being your current self that has a full range of options, that is thinking clear-headedly, that is, that can talk to people and take your time to ponder it out and think about it and figure things out. You're in a version of you that literally can't see the solution right now because you're in that persona and it's burning. You're burning up. It feels like like a fire, So the trick is to batten it down and see it out. See it out until you get distracted. What happens is you get distracted and you jump into a different persona. How do I know this is true? How do I know what I'm telling you is correct? Well, because I have experienced it myself, and because in NLP, there is a thing called pattern interrupt. So when somebody is in the height of an emotion, of being really upset, sometimes one of the things you could do as a practitioner is a pattern interrupt. So do something completely unexpected with that person, such as getting up in the middle of a conversation and leaving, or if, the doorbell rings, or Tony Robbins was notorious for, he would jump up and down and scream, because the pattern interrupt works for people who are upset because it goes against the conditioning. It literally, people get jolted out of the conditioning and pop out of that persona into what they perceive they're supposed to be in that moment. So again, you're crying, you're upset, and suddenly your doorbell rings and it's somebody you haven't seen in forever. Or maybe it's your ex. And your persona suddenly totally shifts because, the situation has changed. I need to be a different person right now. You might not be thinking that consciously, but subconsciously, that's what's happening, right? The pattern, your conditioning has been interrupted. You've been shaken out of that hurt feeling. and jumped into another one in order to deal with the situation at hand. And I know how it feels to be inside of a hurt feeling, to be burning in anger or sadness or grief or shame. I know this, but I'm telling you, if you can just see it as a fire that is going to burn itself out, you just need to hold on to yourself, know that it's going to pass, and make it to the other side so that you can then, be in the energy of the solution, be in the persona of the solution. Because the answer is always there. A solution is always there. Something, an action that you can take or a way to reframe the situation is always there waiting for you in a different persona where you have more lucidity, because your options open back up. When you're out of the hurt feeling persona, your options open back up. You can breathe a little bit more. There's more, you can think more clearly. And yeah, so I hope that helped. I hope if you are experiencing hurt feelings that this will help you. And the thing to realize is if you're returning to the persona analogy, if you find yourself going a lot to hurt feelings as a highly sensitive person, know that it's no reflection on you. It's just because you have practiced going to that persona a lot. You've practiced jumping into that consciousness. You've practiced that a lot. And it's okay to choose something different and to start practicing the persona of calm, to practice the persona of being totally present, to practice the persona of, being unruffled and moving through life with ease and flow. That's how I self-extracted from being a highly sensitive person, because I identified as an HSP with constant hurt feelings. So in order to condition ourselves to be something different, and what does that feel like? When something is conditioned inside of us, it's easy to do. It doesn't take effort or time or energy. But when you decide to do something different and with your conditioning, it takes a little bit of willpower to practice the new conditioning, right? It's habit change, to practice the new habit until it enters into the realm of subconscious knowledge where you'll just do it automatically. But when you get to that point, then it's easy and natural and feels like flow and ease. And so if you're having hurt feelings a lot, again, my 2 pieces of advice: batten down the hatches, try to, stay in it, and know that, not stay in it, but know that it's going to end soon, that it isn't the most current version of you that you can be, that you're going to pop out of it. Often with attention, your attention gets drawn to something else, or the meaning. You reframe the situation to a different meaning that pops you out into a different persona. But if you're visiting those personas a lot as a highly sensitive person, maybe it's time to change. And that is available to you. That option is available to you because you can literally condition yourself to be anyone, to frequent whichever personas you want to be in your conscious experience of life. That's your choice as a human. So, and if you haven't checked out my emotional mastery basics for HSPs, that will definitely help you do that. We'll get you on the track to managing these 3 things that essentially control how we move about the consciousness map between personas. So check that out. It's only $8. I'll put the link below. And I also will put the video below for the hurt feelings song, which will definitely make you laugh if you're having hurt feelings. And it's only going to work if you give your full attention to that video. If you really give your full attention to it and pay attention to it instead of in the back of your mind, continuing the thought patterns of, oh, I'm so upset about this. I can't believe he did or she did this to me. Oh my gosh. If you really watch the video, keep your head clear, it will distract you enough to get you out of the hurt feeling momentarily because you've popped into the persona of someone watching a interesting, funny, well-made video. So anyway, hope that was helpful. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought. And have a great day.